I'm Henneke, and I'm the one.
Welcome to I Am the One, Entrepreneur Edition, a show that explores the journey of business owners who decided to be the one to make life better for the people that they serve. I'm your host, Sonia Thompson, and today's guest is a woman who's so fabulous, she's known only by her first name. Henneke is the founder of Enchanting Marketing. Since 2011, she's been working hard helping business owners win clients with their words. This irreverent copywriter and business writing coach has made a big splash with her books, blog posts, and courses that teach entrepreneurs how to stop using gobbledygook in favor of sparkling words that woo readers. Henneke knows her stuff, and we can learn a lot from her journey. So I'm super excited to share her story with you today. But before we get to the interview, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Try Business School. Get the information you need to build the business of your dreams, step by step. Visit trybizschool.com, that's trybizschool.com, and get started with your free e-course, the 4 people you need to build a successful business. So without further ado, here's Henneke. Well, Henneke, thanks so much for being with us here today. It's great to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Nice to see you.
Yeah, always great to see you. So I wanted to just talk with you briefly about your experience as an entrepreneur. I've heard you say several times whenever you first got started, you were still working in a corporate job and you weren't exactly sure what you were going to write about or what you were actually, eventually your business was going to be, but yet you got started blogging anyway. What was it that gave you the courage to start blogging, let alone to start blogging on the biggest marketing blog in the world whenever you got started?
Yeah. I don't really know exactly why, but this was for me, it was kind of a test case, I think. It was a trial, and that's how I saw it. For me, it was like, you see, I never saw myself as a writer. I was a marketing person and a manager, but I was fascinated by writing and I really enjoyed it. And so I thought, well, if I can do this, I can escape my job. So it was really like, I never saw myself as somebody running her own company. And I thought, well, if I can write that blog post and get it published on Copyblogger, then there's a way out. Then I can find a way out. So it wasn't. I didn't have a lot of courage to do it. I was dithering about it for ages. I think I read 6 books before I started writing the post. I read them specifically to write the post, and I kept sort of, even when the draft was ready, I kept sort of polishing. Well, it was done, and the changes didn't make a difference, but I kept sort of doing it. So yeah, I think I wasn't confident, but I did think like, okay, come on, let's try it, because if you can do it, there's an opportunity out there.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you tried it because it worked really well.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it went totally wrong with my first blog post because I had my author bio and it linked to my website, but my website wasn't up yet. I thought, I have plenty of time. By the time the post will go up, then I'll have a landing page by then. But the problem was that post was published much quicker than I anticipated. And they emailed me while I was on a business trip in Italy, and they said, your post will go up in 2 days, but the link in your bio doesn't work. So, and I couldn't do anything because I was abroad. So I had to say, well, just take it out, the link. So I had the guest post going up on Copyblogger, and all it said it was from me and connect on Twitter, which was like a missed opportunity, but I sort of had to laugh about it because it was such a stupid mistake. But And I proved I could do it, and that was the main thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think getting over that initial hurdle is the biggest thing. And like you said, you actually prepared really well to have that post do as well as it did. So once you got over that initial hump, even though there were some bumps along the way, it looks like you set yourself up to do well for everything else that came afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that's quite a good lesson, and that's how I approach my business later on as well. I tend to be quite a perfectionist and want to get everything done, but if you try and get everything perfect, then you never get anywhere. So, yeah, just get started.
You got to ship. You got to get going. You improve along the way.
Yeah.
All right. So Enchanting Marketing is your business, and it's doing well now. You've been up and running for about 3 years now?
Yeah, less than that. I set up my business just over 2 years, yeah.
Awesome. So whenever you started the blogging and then you started to get clients, what was the need that you are actually, or that you continue to solve for your clients? And then once you figured out that they did have a need, what made you decide that you were going to be the one to fill that gap that they were facing?
I didn't really decide that. They decided that for me. So what happened, I was, at that time, I was sort of polishing my writing skills, and I wanted to become a better writer. And so I was following my curiosity, and I was writing about writing because I really found it interesting, and I dug deeper and learned more and shared more. And then somehow people just approached me and said, "Oh, can you help us with copywriting?" And I was sort of, yeah, well, actually, why not? I hadn't thought about it, but not that I told them that. But yeah, so it was actually my clients who made me realize there was a need and that I could do that for them. And I think my combination of a good marketing background and then learning how to write was obviously a good one, but I hadn't quite realized that until they decide. I mean, it's not, I don't want this to sound like I just did whatever came in my way. It was something I did enjoy doing.
Right.
I just hadn't expected people to pay me to do it.
But whenever they started coming to you and said, "You're good at this, can you help us, and we'll pay you, can you help us do this for our business or improve for our business?" I guess that was a no-brainer for you to say, "All right."
Yeah, I knew I could do it, I think. I somehow lacked the confidence to, you see, like deep inside I knew I could do it, but somehow I didn't have the confidence to think like, oh, okay, I'm going to set up a copywriting business.
Now, I want to just dive into that a little bit more, because you mentioned that with your copy blogger post, your first blog post that went up live. And it's a theme around confidence, in that, whenever you start, you've got these skills, but sometimes whenever it comes time to do it for yourself or your own business, we kind of hem and haw and wonder, or can we do it? Is what got you over the confidence hump? Was it just reminding yourself that you were good at what you did, or was it a combination of the external influences, say your clients who were saying, "We'll hire you if you'll do this for us"? Like, how did you get to the point to where you're like, "Yeah, I'm good at what I do"?
Yeah, I think that took a while, because with my first clients, I was still very nervous. And I knew I could write because I got a lot of positive feedback about it, and I understood the theory, and I had these popular blog posts, and I'd done some good work for websites. But whenever I had to, like a Skype call or a phone call with a client to discuss a project, I would always think, oh, okay, now they're going to find out that I have a weird accent and they won't want to work with me. So, yeah, that took me quite a long time to get over that idea that I, as a non-native speaker, could actually write good copy. And of course, I started using a proofreader so that if there were any tiny mistakes, that they would be ironed out. But yeah, I don't know. Did I answer your question?
You did. I think lost. It's just a matter of continuing to go through it, and as you feel that fear and that nervousness that you're experiencing, you just kind of still push forward with it. You don't let it get the best of you.
Yeah, I think I always push a little forward, and I don't take big jumps. Like in my business as well, I started with writing blog posts, and I got confidence in my writing, and then I thought, okay, now I had a lot of good feedback on these blog posts, and I'm clearly writing something that people find useful. Now maybe I can put this in a book. So I took the next step, and it was a book. And gosh, I was scared about publishing my book, and I thought it would suck. And
it was fabulous.
I know it's good. It has lots of 5-star reviews. So. But I didn't think that. I was nervous about it failing, and I mean, you know how we are about creating stuff. It's scary. So it was a little step from first. Blogging was scary first, but once I got sort of used to that, I decided to go for a book. And then once I got over the book self-doubt, then I decided to develop a course. So I think the step-by-step approach is really a useful one to get over your fear and to get continuous feedback as well. Because for my book, for instance, I also got beta readers, so I would ask people, okay, what do you think? And that just, things like that just are little confidence boosters. If people say it's good, then I'm sure they're right. And you know it yourself, it's not bad. So keep going forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. You just got to keep pushing. Don't stop. You mentioned that English is not your first language. And I've heard you say before that in your previous job, there were a few people who unfortunately teased you about your English, and they, acknowledged that they said it wasn't, proper English. But yet right now your business is all about teaching people how to write for the web, and you're doing that in English, ironically.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
What did you do to silence those critics that might have been in your head, from experiencing your coworkers talking about your English? And I know you just mentioned also, some of the self-doubt that you had with getting on Skype. How did you just sort of put those things to bed and say, I'm going to do this anyway?
Yeah, it was mainly my boss who would make jokes about my accent, and I don't always get the pronunciation right of words or the grammar right, but especially when I speak. When I write, I find it easier because you can correct yourself, right. But when I speak, I find it more difficult. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very difficult sometimes to make those little critics shut up in your minds, but I think when you're curious and when you do something you enjoy, you just have to keep going. And I think initially there was an element also of, well, okay, I'm going to prove I can do that. You don't believe that I can make it, but I can do it. So yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna suck it to them. You're gonna show them.
Yeah, and I think it's also finding like-minded people and getting feedback. It's so important. I mean, it's my readers who are cheering me on quite often, and other people that you hear that go through the same struggles and self-doubts, and that's just I think one of the things to realize, it's not just you. It's quite normal, and we just have to pick up the courage and just go forward step by step.
Absolutely.
Don't make it too big.
Absolutely. So as you've been going through the process of building your business over these last 2 years, there are definitely high highs that come with it. There might be some lows or some challenging days. What is it that keeps you going to push through in between those high highs and those low lows to keep progressing and moving forward?
I really think it's my readers, it's my audience, and the feeling that what I'm doing can maybe help out a few people and can make a difference to their lives. I started just sharing copywriting tips, but I found that a lot of my readers, it's not about knowing exactly how to do it. It's also having the confidence. So I started to write more about things like self-doubt and finding the courage to move on. And I think if some people get inspired by hearing my story, then I'm happy, and that's a good thing. That's I think that's what it is about, solving other people's problems and helping them take steps in their business.
And that fuels you. That's awesome. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What has been your biggest lesson learned as you've been going through this process of building a business?
I thought, wow, yes, if I'm on my own, it's going to be really good, and I'm agile and decisive, and we can move quickly. But when you start, you find out you're about as agile as an elephant, and you actually don't get moving too quickly because, one, you have to do everything on your own, and you struggle with this self-doubt, and you want to do everything perfect, and there's far too many things you think you need to do to get started. So this process of getting moving is far more difficult when you're on your own than when you're in a big company, because you have so many colleagues to help you out, and you're in it all together. So I think that was one of my biggest lessons, how to get started, and letting go of perfectionism and just focus on a couple of core things rather than, I was used to work with marketing teams and big marketing plans. Well, that's just out of the question. You can't do that. You just have to get a few things right. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's very useful. So if you were able to go back and do anything differently, what would that be? Would it be related to letting go of that perfectionism earlier, or focusing, or what would that be?
Yeah, I think that's a difficult question to answer, because it's easy to say, yes, I would have done things differently, but the truth of it is, everything is a learning experience, and even though you sometimes make mistakes and do things that maybe were a waste of your effort, you learn from it. And I think one of the big things about building your own business is it is a huge learning curve, and it is sometimes pretty steep, even despite me having quite a lot of background in being part of a business, and I was a company director, so I knew quite a lot about running a business. But even so, this was quite different, and I think we shouldn't forget how much energy that takes to learn all these things and to go through this learning curve. So yeah, I could say, I wasted my energy with being perfectionistic, or I wasted energy by blogging for too many small blogs that didn't really generate many subscribers, but it was part of the learning experience. And by writing so many posts, I just got better and understood things better, and then I could go and write even better posts. So yeah, it's easy to say, well, I do things differently, but they're all part of the experience.
Right, all part of the process.
Yeah.
Now, would you, if you had to give 3 words that described your keys to success, what would they be? I know no one is ever able to just come up with one. So if you had 3 to give, what would those be?
I think my very first one would be empathy. And I think it's often overlooked, but I think the success in the business is ultimately about understanding your audience and learning from them and understanding how you can help them. And if you don't have that basis right, then it's very difficult to run a successful business. So that has been, especially my first year, it has been a huge focus, understanding who I could help and how I could help them. And it still is. I keep learning about people, of course. That never stops. But I think it's very, very important. So what was my second? Oh yeah, my second would be focus. I think it's very easy to get distracted by too many things and think that you have to learn a lot of things. My focus in my first year was very much on improving my writing and getting to know my audience. And then in terms of marketing, it was about building my email list through guest blogging and then writing for my own blog. And yes, social media can be great, but that was for me very much secondary. I didn't spend a lot of time on that. I still don't even have a Facebook account at this point in time. So I think focus is really important. You learn a lot more from improving a few core skills than from trying to master a lot of skills. And I think that strong focus on writing and learning more about it, that has been really, really good for me.
No, that's definitely some great advice.
Yeah, and I think the third one, I would say maybe curiosity. I think if you do something and you're not really curious about it, then it's really difficult to stay committed and to keep going. I think a lot of people talk about passion, and I think passion is quite a big word, and follow your passion as well. Okay, what's my passion? If you'd had asked me 3 years, I wouldn't have a clue. So I prefer curiosity, which is more low-key, and just follow your curiosity and see where it gets you. If you just do something to make money or because you think you can make money with it, I think it's very, very difficult to keep up. So I would always say build a business on something that you're interested in, at least curious.
That's great wise words.
I don't feel that wise.
You're very wise. You're very wise. Any parting words of wisdom that you have for those who are working on building their business now, or those who are dreaming of starting a business but haven't yet made that leap yet?
Yeah, I think it's about believing in yourself and just going for it. Make that first step and be kind to yourself, I would say, as well. Because we tend to beat ourselves up and think we need to know more or do things better, or we get angry about mistakes or bad habits or things that we would do but then can't keep up. But I think there's a balance between discipline and being kind to ourselves as well. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. What can we expect to see from you in the future? You've done so many wonderful things already. I'm sure more great things are on the horizon.
Yeah, I have lots of great plans. I'm not sure how many I can implement how quickly, but yes, I'm currently running a course for people who want to promote their business with a blog. So it's a blog writing course. And I'm going to develop a copywriting course as well. And this will be an intensive course, so not self-study, really with lots of feedback, tutor support, because I think learning how to write, and I looked at a lot of courses, and a lot of courses are just too hands-off, and you can't really learn how to write from reading a book. So I really like the courses with small groups of people where I can really give them assignments and help them improve their writing by giving personal feedback. So there's another course coming, and then there will be some smaller self-study courses I'm developing as well for writing and finding your own voice and things like that.
Very exciting.
Fun.
Very exciting. Well, your students, I'm sure, will learn lots from you, as I do. Mm-hmm. All right, so here's one last bonus question for you, just for fun. I always think it's cool to see what music does to people. So is there a specific song or a group that whenever you hear their music, you just have to start dancing? Or if you're at a party, when you hear a song, you've just got to make your way to the dance floor whenever you hear a certain song or group?
Yeah, I'm not really a big dancer, but the song that came up in my mind is I Will Survive, but not the original version. I like the version of Cake.
Cake, okay.
Yeah, listen to that one. It's a bit different, but it's, yeah.
We're going to have to check that one out. I'll put it in the show notes for everyone. Awesome. Thank you so much, Henneke. It's been great talking to you, and you've had these wonderful words of wisdom that lots of entrepreneurs, both now and those who are going to be starting a business, can use to really make a splash and move forward and do great things with their work. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It's been great talking to you.
Henneke gave us lots of words of wisdom that we can use to grow our businesses. But there is one thing in particular that stood out to me the most. And that brings us to today's I Am the One challenge. It's great to learn from the experiences of others, but you've got to apply the lessons if you want to make them work for you. So based upon Henneke's insights, here's today's challenge question for you. Henneke mentioned that when she was just getting started, she knew that if she could get a blog published on Copyblogger, she could escape her job. What's one milestone you can set for yourself as a marketer to achieve to give you the confidence and courage you need to move forward with the big dreams you have for your business? Think about it and then head on over to iamtheone.fm and let me know your answer. Leave it in the comments on the show notes page or even tweet me at Sonia E. Thompson. I'll be on the lookout for your tweet. Until next time, keep working on building your dream business so you can make life better. Somebody's waiting on you. Thanks for watching.